2018 has been a banner year for Sony and the PlayStation 4. I've gone ahead and said that 2018 was the best year ever for the PlayStation 4 since its release back in 2013. But in this video, I want to take a look at some reasons why, and specifically 5 huge things Sony did in 2018 to make PlayStation 4 the best console. There's a lot of things Sony got right in 2018, and while I won't say the PlayStation 4 is a perfect console, I'll say that it's a damn good one. And without further ado, let's get right into this and take a look at why the PlayStation 4 is the best console in 2018 thanks to some of the things that Sony has done. Number 1, and I think this is the most obvious, so I'll get it out right away, and that is the exclusive lineup. I mean, if you look at the game releases in 2018, it is staggering how many high-quality games we got in 2018. And even if you strip away all of the multi-platform titles and just look at it from an exclusive standpoint, in any given year, you're lucky if you get one exclusive that scores a 90 or above on Metacritic, but this year on the PlayStation 4, we got 3. That includes God of War, Shadow of the Colossus, and Astro Bot Rescue Mission, and there were a bunch of games that scored in the high 80s like Tetris Effect, Yakuza Kiwami 2, Marvel Spider-Man, Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Elusive Age, which is a game that is also available on PC, but as far as consoles go, exclusive to the PlayStation 4. And there were just high quality game after high quality game, and if you couple these exclusives with the multi-platform offerings, the multi-platform offerings this year were really great, with games like Red Dead Redemption 2, Monster Hunter World, and Divinity Original Sin 2, those games all scoring a 90 or above. It's been an absolutely stacked year for the PlayStation 4 from a first-party standpoint and a third-party. However, it seems like we've made it abundantly clear that the PlayStation 4 has the best exclusives. I think everybody talks about that, but there are a lot of other factors that have made 2018 a banner year for the PlayStation 4, and one of them, and that's our next point, being accessibility and price. The price point to get into getting this stacked lineup of games has never been lower. Just back at Black Friday, we had one of the most insane PlayStation bundles ever across the entire history of PlayStation bundles. Forget about just the PlayStation 4, I am talking about the PlayStation 4 Slim Marvel Spider-Man bundle. That bundle was available for just $200, offering you a PlayStation 4 Slim console as well as Marvel Spider-Man, one of the best PlayStation 4 exclusives of the year. And that is absolutely insane to get a PlayStation 4 console for that price. Also, it really extends far beyond just the console, but if you look at pricing of games, and maybe this isn't something that Sony is doing directly, but hey, it's an effect of the market right now, you can get so many great games at such cheap prices. Maybe it's because it's the holiday season, but I feel like more so than any other year, games are getting discounted so quickly, and we saw it through this holiday season with new games like Battlefield 5, Fallout 76, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, even deals on games like Marvel Spider-Man and God of War, exclusives that typically in history you would think would hold up in price. They are available much cheaper than your typical $59.99 price point. Now, of course, games do release at $59.99, but if you're a deal hunter and you keep up with this channel, you'll notice really quickly that if you're on a budget, you can get great games at great price, and 2018 has been a real banner year, not only for pricing of the console, and extends beyond just the physical medium. Of course, from a digital standpoint, Sony has rolled out sale after sale after sale, discounting some of the biggest games of the year, existing titles from previous years. You can just get a gigantic collection of games for very cheap these days. Moving on from that, while I've talked about accessibility from a console standpoint, I also have to mention accessibility and the game library of PlayStation VR. I've been touting how good PlayStation VR has been getting all year, but it really came to show in the last few months because we've had some incredible games released like the aforementioned Astro Bot Rescue Mission. Tetris Effect had a big VR component to it, and it was a great experience with VR. Of course, we also had Firewall Zero Hour, which was a great multiplayer first-person shooter, something that I really didn't think would be able to work that well with VR, but they nailed it with Firewall Zero Hour. And not only that, the accessibility to PlayStation VR has never been better. Over Black Friday, the PlayStation VR bundles were available for just $200. That is insane, and that was including the PlayStation VR headset, the camera, as well as Astro Bot Rescue Mission and Moss, two of the best games on PSVR. And the issue with PSVR has always been the game library. There wasn't a ton of depth to it, but I don't think you can say that anymore. There's a ton of depth to the PlayStation VR's game library, and the depth is continuing to grow. We know a bunch of games that are coming out in 2019. We know that Borderlands 2 will be making the transition to VR very soon, although I'm not a big fan of that $49.99 price point. Playing Borderlands 2 in VR, that's gonna be a blast. And not only that, we have yet another PlayStation VR bundle being released with the Borderlands 2 VR bundle, also coming with Beat Saber, the headset, the camera. I believe you also get some Move controllers. It does come at a heftier price at $349.99. However, PlayStation VR bundles have been going on sale all the time, that if you're paying retail price for a PlayStation VR, you're really not doing your wallet any justice, because you can get get it for much cheaper. Just again, over Black Friday, those bundles were at just $200. There's a couple games with it. That is so great. And comparatively speaking to the PC VR options, it is very much cheaper, and the library is beginning to get filled with quality. I think at this point, you can say that the library is really, really good. Moving on to the next point, and this has been an issue in prior years, and that is the PlayStation Plus game offerings, but PlayStation Plus in 2018, I feel like has been really great. I know some of you guys will disagree, and I go back to the old joke of some of you guys wanting the latest games like Red Dead Redemption 2, Marvel Spider-Man, give you all those games. You're only paying $3 and change a month, but for some reason you want the latest and greatest games. I know that might be a little bit hyperbolic, but based on some of the comments I see, I don't think that's too far of a stretch. But overall in 2018, I think PlayStation Plus has been really good and definitely a step up from 2017. Yes, there have been some months that were hit or miss. Maybe you can say October was a miss, and I definitely said it was a miss. December seems to have people mixed. I think it's pretty good with Soma and Onrush being a relatively recent game and Iconoclast. But then you look at some of the other Plus titles we got this year: Deus Ex Mankind Divided, Mafia 3, Bloodborne, Ratchet & Clank, Dead by Daylight, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, and I can go on and on and on. We've gotten some really great games as a PlayStation Plus subscriber, much better than 2017, and I think Sony really listened to the criticism we gave them in 2017, because the Plus games in 2017, yes, there were a couple of good titles here and there. Those games really weren't good. So if you think 2018's been bad for Plus offerings, I tell you, go back to 2017 and look at some of those months, and I think you'll change your tune rather quickly, because 2018 has been rather good. XCOM 2 was another game we got this year. When you look at all of those game offerings, again, I've always said you should be paying around $39.99 a year for PlayStation Plus. That deal is readily available during the holiday time, and if you re-up every year during the holiday time and pay that $40, that means you're paying $3 and change a month for Plus. $3 and change a month to get those aforementioned games and more games on top of that. I think that's a pretty good deal. Do I think you should be paying to play online? No, I've always been against that, but that is the hand that we've been dealt right now, and at the very least, I want some good PlayStation Plus games, and I think Sony offered that to us in 2018. And lastly, number 5, I really think Sony has done a good job in turning around the PlayStation Now disaster. PlayStation Now really hasn't resonated with gamers since its launch. Yes, it has a very high quality PlayStation 3 library of games. It's building up some PlayStation 4 games. It's got some PS2 classics on there, but for a long time, the issue was, one, it was $19.99 a month, so very, very expensive, especially compared to Game Pass on Microsoft's Xbox One, and that being only $9.99, and with Game Pass, you could actually download your games, and with PlayStation Now, for a long time, your only option was streaming your games. The issue being is if you didn't have top-tier internet connection with a lot of the games, they're just not going to play very, very well. Now, personally speaking, my PlayStation 4 is wired, and when I use PlayStation Now, even from a streaming standpoint, it works pretty well, but I can definitely see criticisms coming from other people. However, this year, Sony, of course, added the option to download PlayStation 4 titles as well as PlayStation 2 classics. Now, the bulk of PlayStation Now's quality does come from the PlayStation 3 catalog, and unfortunately, you can't download those games because those games aren't playable on the PlayStation 4, so that's still a bummer, but this was definitely a step in the right direction. Not only that, readily available have been great deals on PlayStation Now 12-month subscriptions, so instead of paying $20 a month, which ends up being, what, $240 a year, I've seen PlayStation Now 12-month subscription cards for like $80, and that's actually a great deal. That means you're paying, what, $6 and change a month for PlayStation Now? At that point, PlayStation Now is actually well worth it, and being able to download the PS4 catalog, there's a ton of great games available as a part of that. I think north of 200 games, and then if you do have quality internet and you can take advantage of the streaming, that's great as well. But the fact that they added the download option, the fact that PlayStation Now is available a bit cheaper, even though the regular price is $19.99, look hard enough and you can find it cheaper. I think PlayStation Now is making a lot of moves, and this is directly coming from the criticism that we gave to Sony about PlayStation Now. And criticism really doesn't stop with PS Now, nor did it stop with PlayStation Plus. PlayStation Network name changes are finally being implemented. We got crossplay and Fortnite. I think our criticisms about some things related to PlayStation finally actually impacted the PlayStation 4 as a console and network services, and all of that began to take into effect in 2018. So that's my spiel on why I think the PlayStation 4 got a lot better in 2018 and why it's the best console right now. You look at the exclusive lineup, it is second to none. You look at the accessibility from a price standpoint and games being so cheap. I mean, I love the Nintendo Switch, but you look at the games on there, those games hold up in value for a very long time. There are hardly ever any big sales on the eShop compared to the PlayStation Store, where they're running quality flash sales pretty much every weekend. The accessibility from a price standpoint has never been better. PlayStation VR has never been better, from the depth of the game library to the bundles being very, very cheap. PlayStation Plus in 2018, I know some of you guys are going to disagree with me on this, but I think 2018 has been really good for Plus subscribers, especially if you've been subscribed all year long. And I never thought Sony would turn the tables on PlayStation now, but I feel like the ship is finally being turned around on now. Yes, there's still a lot of work to be done. I would love to see it go like Game Pass. Maybe one day we can get all of those first-party titles as a part of PlayStation. Now, that might be asking a little bit too much. With Microsoft, their first-party isn't as strong as Sony's, and if I was asking for games like Days Gone and The Last of Us Part 2 and Marvel Spider-Man all to just jump onto PlayStation now, maybe I'm being a little bit too greedy at that point, but hey, we can dream, right? That's gonna conclude this video. Let me know your guys' thoughts. I'm really interested to hear what you guys think. Do you think 2018 has been a banner year for the PlayStation 4, or do you think it's just been another year? Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.